Good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always with me today is Mr. Jake Peters, and you are listening to PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 340. This is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I want to invite you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome. If you'd like to look at our trophy list on the PlayStation Network to see what we're playing, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. As always, you can write us at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. Most importantly, don't forget to share this show with your friends. Make sure you leave comments and you rate our podcast as you see fit. And as a reminder, we are a video podcast, so if you prefer to watch us have these conversations, you can do so each and every week on Wednesday on YouTube. So make sure you are subscribed to that. And if you're new or a long-time listener, we do have a Patreon page, and you can support us for $1 a month. The $1 level is called the one and only $1 Club, fittingly. Go to patreon.com/PS This Is Awesome to become a $1 patron of our show. Get a free die-cut vinyl sticker in the mail, and also get a shout-out. And with that patronage, you will sometimes, not always, have early access to the audio version of the weekly episodes. So thank you for doing that. And with that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. I just got home. I've been running around. I have to have Sarah's car worked on, and the closest dealer that'll work on her vehicle is like 30 minutes away. So that sucks. But did that. I don't know. I'm feeling okay. It was a busy weekend. I was driving all over the fucking countryside. But other than that, just doing family stuff and whatever, but nothing really out of the ordinary, I would say, as far as my weekend is concerned. Got in the pool yesterday for the first time in a while. That was kind of nice. My nephew, my parents came over, and so we were in the pool with him. He's 5, and he just got to the point where he likes jumping into the pool because he can't really swim, so he has these floaties, so he's always kind of afraid to go under the water. I think he didn't really understand how to like close his mouth and hold his breath and all of that.
Yeah.
And now he's got that all figured out, so he's all into jumping in the pool. So our pool has a shallow end where he can stand no problem because he's actually pretty tall for a 5-year-old, but then our deep end's like 8 feet deep.
Yeah.
So I was literally just like picking him up and just fucking hucking him into the deep end of the pool. And like Sarah was out there and she would like, get a hold of him or whatever. But I mean, he could float with his floaties or whatever. But I don't know. It's a fun age for kids. But he's got infinite energy, which is just being around him for like an hour is tiring. So I can't imagine being a parent and having. And my brother and my sister-in-law are out of town for their anniversary, so my parents have had him for like 7 or 8 days, and they're telling me that they're just fucking exhausted. But I mean, other than that, I went for a little bit of a motorcycle ride last night. That was kind of nice. But to be honest, nothing really special. I haven't had much of a chance to play a lot of video games just because I've been busy. But yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, my entire weekend is a blur. I don't even know what I did. I played a gig Friday night, I think. Yeah, sorry. I played Friday night at the Sunset Grill in Edinburgh. That was nice. So I worked. It sucks because I got out of work at 5, and I was supposed to start at 6:30 in Edinburgh. So I showed up at 6 o'clock, 6:05, and I just unloaded my shit. Didn't eat dinner, and I just played from like 6:30 to 9:30. And then at the end of the day, like I literally double worked that day. It felt good. You know those days when you just clock a ton of fucking hours and you get home and you take your shoes off and you're just like, fuck, this feels good. You know what I mean? Like, I did something. Like, I accomplished some shit. I made some fucking money. I made some scratch. I played music. I did what I love. I held down the fort at my new job. It was a successful Friday. Saturday, I didn't do a whole lot of anything. I did some cleaning around the house, caught up on laundry, dishes, that kind of thing. And then Sunday, we had Hero Quest, and we completed Quest 13 of the Prophecy of Telor, which is the last quest in the Mythic Tier expansion. Well, it's not even Mythic Tier, it was, and then Hasbro released it as a standalone box you could buy if you didn't go all in on the Mythic Tier of that campaign. But as I mentioned before, I do these audio segues and stuff now, and I use like the voice alter boy thing I have on my plugin for my music station here. So if you're into music recording at all, there's a company called Sound Toys, and they have a digital plugin called Little Alter Boy, and it can manipulate your voice, and you can adjust the formant and like the fucking pitch, and it sounds fucking rad. So I've been doing these Quest voiceovers, and so I was home Sunday in the morning, and I did these voiceovers. And that was fun. And then the guys came over and we played. We got through it. Sunday night, I spent more time cleaning and then smash cut to here. I haven't played many video games like yourself. It was just a busy weekend, but it wasn't busy with shows. But what I did do is maybe the listeners might appreciate some of this. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. But One of My Land is going on a run in Ohio Friday and Saturday. We're playing in Akron on Friday with a Pittsburgh band that we're friends with called Pummeled. And then we're also playing in Toledo on Saturday, Toledo, Ohio. And we were trying to rush order some shirts, some new merch, better merch. Our last run of shirts we had done from a local place, and they did a fine job, and the price was right, but the ink was a little thick on the shirt, some shirts you buy, and it's just like, it's a cool graphic, but like it's not anything you'd like wear out, because it's like, number one, it's maybe a little boxier. The ink just, you can feel the shirt doesn't fold where the ink is because it's just thicker. So you get what you pay for, and they did a fine job. Those shirts cost us barely anything to make, and we turned a nice profit on them. But then I was talking to Troy, and I said, dude, in the band, I said, guys, we gotta be known for having nicer merch. Like, if I can afford to have really fucking nice t-shirts and I'm not a band, One of My Land can fucking step it up. Like, we have like 3 full-length albums. People know our name. Like, we need to step our merch game. So I got together a new design. Was working with Commonwealth Press out of Pittsburgh. They're great. They do all my Fred Oakman merch, and they're fantastic. And I sent them what I thought was the same quality of shirt that I had done recently for my personal project, and they quoted me something astronomical for 50 shirts. We're just getting 50 shirts done. And I was like, what? And their invoice was like, please review carefully. And then I looked and like, these aren't the same style of shirts. I thought this was. And then I asked them. So I looked at it, and it took an extra $250 off per shirt. So you can imagine how expensive it was. I mean, like, so so I got a different shirt, and it's the same one as the Fred Oakman shirts, if any of the listeners have those. But I went with a heather black, and then I had to do all the screen prep work to try to make sure that all the heavy lifting was done digitally, so they didn't have to do it all, and they could just pull up the file and just fucking like print off the screens and get it done. But we wanted them by Friday, almost, in 4 days. We're recording this on Monday, so we wanted them by Friday. No one in the band was willing or able to go to Pittsburgh to pick them up. And then because it was a rush order, it was going to be an extra $150, and then we were going to throw shipping on top of it. So that it was still like not really worth what we were going to make from 2 shows of having those shirts available. So I did all this back and forth shit. But anyways, good news is One of My Land is having new shirts made. They probably will not be available at our run of shows this weekend coming up, but they will be on our merch store. And that would be cool if you guys want to support us. We're going to sell them for $20, and they're black shirts. They have like this, Mike Fritz, our friend Mike, he's a great artist, and he drew like this cool head. It has like 4 eyes, and its head's just on fucking fire. It looks like a human, but his head's just on fire, and it says "Want to buy land over it." It looks pretty dope. So I'm excited for that. And I spent a lot of time over the weekend just trying to get this print. If anybody's done color separations, it's kind of tough when you do it from layers, because I'm using Affinity Photo, and you got to turn each layer into a vector, and then when they're vectorized, you go back in, and then you have to make sure you do like subtraction and get rid of any of the layers underneath, because you don't want to put ink on top of ink, right? So you have to make sure that wherever the red ink is laying, the other ink isn't underneath it. So you got to make your layers. It gets kind of complex for even really simple designs sometimes. So I had to relearn how to do that. So it was a project. But moving forward, I coordinated with the AC people, and while it's not yet done, the work is not done. It's paid for now. I've paid for it. The non-covered costs apparently have to be paid for up front through the warranty company for them to come out and service the thing. So the parts are ordered. They're sitting in a warehouse somewhere. The AC people are picking them up, and the plan right now is to have them come and fix my AC in 2 days. So on Wednesday, they will be here, and I will have AC, which will be nice. So it still cost me a bit. It cost me like just under $2,000, which is not cheap. But I think to have new coils installed in a brand new unit and have it all ran correctly, using new parts, and I think that's fair. Honestly, I think I'm saving some money for sure going through the warranty company, but not saving a headache. It was a pain in the ass. So, so that's done. So that worked out, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it in future episodes. But my oven, not the stovetop, but the oven itself, where you bake stuff, it will not exceed like 220 degrees. So I looked inside, and the top, it's a double oven, the top and the bottom, the right heating element is not getting hot at all. And I'm like, well, fuck, here goes another warranty send through. Let's see what this next, because I'm not fucking, I'm still under the warranty. Like, I'm not going to fucking pay for someone to come. And if it's fucked, it's fucked. Maybe we'll get a new oven out of it. And I know an oven is paid for, bought and paid for by the warranty company. AC is a little more complex. They will buy you an oven. They bought me a dishwasher for nothing. So I'll probably get an oven maybe, or at least someone to come out and fix it for $100, which you can't really beat that. But I wanted to get this thing buried first with the AC before I submitted another claim. But yeah, and then once that's done, I knock on wood, I've had the water heater for a while now. So, I mean, we're coming on like 8 or 9 years. So that's bound to go any minute. But we're hitting a nice refresh period at the Oakman house. So I don't know. That's my life right now. Just lots of things. Also my JCM 900 amp. I think the power amp went on it. So it's fucked. Good news is Troy has the exact same head, so I'm taking that on the little run this upcoming weekend. But I found a guy in Hermitage who fixes these tube amps and knows his shit. So it's currently out at Hermitage sitting. So I'm coordinating with him and just like doing the podcast, working full time, doing all this other shit. Like, it's just like, fuck, man, there's no time in my life. I can't wait for all these things to slowly just blow past me and just be resolved. Like everything. I can't wait. Just a lot of stress in my life. But yeah, life is good though. The new job, I've officially gotten 2 weeks in. Done with it. Done with the first 2 weeks, the first official pay period I've worked. It's good, man. My boss was out for 3 days, last week, and she came back and she said that she was really impressed with how I handled things in the office. And I'm like, this is great. Cool. We got a good relationship then. So I held my ground. I did the good shit, and life is surprisingly way easier in this new role I'm taking than what it has been the last 8 fucking years. So, at least for now. So, I'll take it, man. But not very little gaming. And the more I work further from home now. So, I've been considering diving back into the Vita a little bit and getting it charged up and seeing what the fuck to do with it, like for like my lunch breaks and stuff. Because like, I don't know, I'm in a foreign land out there. What do you do instead of? I'm not an extrovert, so I'm an introvert. I'll just close my door in my office and just fucking play Vita maybe. But I don't know what game to play. All my Vita games that I had, I beat. So I don't know what I should do on the Vita there. I don't know. I tried Tearaway. I didn't really like that. But so if anyone has any good Vita game recommendations, I know it's like an RP. What's
Did you
that?
ever play Severed?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't really into that. But
I don't know. You better get on there and buy some shit before the store closes because I can't imagine it's going to last forever. And then you'll have to buy physical and they'll be incredibly expensive.
yeah. Do you remember when I replaced my Vita screen?
No. Well, yeah.
That was a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah. I still have my Vita. I was thinking about I don't remember what I was thinking about. I was thinking about playing something on it. I don't remember now if it was excuse me, one of the Final Fantasy games or something. I don't remember, but I just don't have time to like. I just know that I wouldn't play it. Like you're in a scenario where it's like, oh well, you just want some shit to do on your lunch break or whatever. So that kind of makes sense. I mean, you did that when you worked in Erie, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that kind of makes sense. You just have to find something to play or replay something old. But it's probably, I mean, there's been rumors that maybe PlayStation is looking into doing another handheld, so you might be able to jump on that bandwagon, although who knows how long a long way that is.
Yeah.
Or even like there's like the Switch and stuff, but I don't know how many games that are on that platform that you would really enjoy. But the problem with the Switch is that like it's just too expensive. Like if they would just decrease the cost of it, like I think they still want like $300 for it. And it's like, okay, well if the Switch was like $150 or $200, maybe I'd buy one, but not for $300.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. I mean, it would be nice to have a nice handheld that was capable and like it would have good shit on it. I think the problem with the Vita was it was just turned into like a PS. It was just like a PS3 for all the RPG games. You know what I mean? Which is cool. Like the Valkyria Chronicles and shit were on there, and that is one game I started that I didn't beat. I think was the whatever Valkyria Chronicles was available on the PSP. I did download.
It was it 2?
Yeah, I think it was 2.
It didn't come to console, but
maybe
it came
1
to
and 2.
PSP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a weird one. But yeah, I was thinking about my Vita. I mean, not seriously enough to actually get it back out, but I was trying to make room in my my little nightstand beside the bed, and in the bottom drawer of my nightstand, I opened it up because I wanted to put some shit in there, and I saw my Vita was in there. That was the only thing that was in that drawer. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe I should do something with this. I don't know. Like every so often I like to just charge it up, turn it on, put a game on there, and like maybe play it for like an hour, and then I don't play it again for like 2 years. It's really weird. Like I love the Vita. I don't know that I necessarily love it enough to spend a lot of time with it. Dude, you should play Persona 4 if you haven't played that.
Yeah, I don't know. I started it and it wasn't like tripping my trigger.
That's so weird. I mean, it's I can understand like if you're just not into that, like it's pretty Japanese, like high school-y kind of shit. So if like, but the story, when you get really, I don't know how far you got into it, but the story is really gnarly, and the I really enjoy the social stuff in it, but I understand like if you're not into that type of thing, then you wouldn't like the game. So
yeah,
I'm just trying to think of Vita, like my limited knowledge of Vita games. I was actually thinking about re-downloading Sound Shapes and playing that.
Okay.
Because that game is
game's
even just like the
dope.
campaign in that game is just so fucking good.
Well, the Little Big Planet on Vita was arguably probably the best Little Big Planet they made.
Yeah, that game is really good too. The Hot Shots Golf on there is fun. It gets a little bit cheesy hard kind of towards the end of the I don't know if you want to call it campaign or whatever.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that. Yeah, I don't know. You just have to look around and see if there's anything on there that you would like to play.
Yeah, I should do that. So That was a nice little intro that we just had. Caught the listeners up with our lives. And since that now is behind us, Jake, we both established we weren't really playing any games. So I'll ask you one more time: have you been playing any games?
I've been playing. So this week I've been playing Final Fantasy Crisis Core Reunion. Which is the originally it was a PSP spin-off game for Final Fantasy VII, all about the character Zack from that game, who is a soldier member. I believe it's where Cloud gets the Buster Sword, yada yada. And I've been enjoying it, and but like it's really antiquated. Like you can tell that this was a handheld game from 20 years ago. Like it's beautiful for a remaster of a game from the PS2 era.
Yeah.
For sure. There's a lot of carryover in like the way the menus look and everything from Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I do like it aesthetically, but like it's one of these things where I only want to play it for like an hour or so at a time because everything is in these mini chunks. Like all of the battles are like these really quick instances. There's all these missions that are like a few battles and then you're done. And it's like that old handheld sort of ideology where it's like, you sit for a couple minutes, you play, you can accomplish something and then you put it down for a bit. So like you're constantly like starting and stopping stuff, and I haven't gotten super deep into the main story, so it's just kind of getting sort of enjoyable. But there's all these like just side missions that are literally a list. You go to like the save point and you just click triangle to bring up a list. And it's just like a bunch of missions, and you just click on one and you just get teleported into a map and you fight a few enemies and you complete the mission. And you get bumped out of it. So it's very like almost arena based and handheld in that faction, but it's still like a Final Fantasy story. It does have that like early PlayStation kind of Japanese dialogue jank to it. So there is some of that sort of cheesiness that you have to get over. But I think there's something to be said here about the story and learning about the backstory of the Buster Sword and Sephiroth and Zack and Zack's mentor and all this stuff in Soldier before. I mean, and how Zack knows Aerith and all this stuff. So it is pretty cool in that regard. The combat is more action focused. So I'm trying to remember how Final Fantasy 16 was, but it's like your equipment, instead of having like armor and all this stuff, you've got slots for all of the buttons. So you hold down L1 and then you've got all the face buttons, R1 and R2. And you can map all 6 of those button sequences to a materia. And that materia gives you a specific spell or ability. So other than that, the combat is action oriented. So you're just like hitting triangle to like do melee attacks, or you've got like a block ability or a dodge ability. And it's all real time. There's no menu based stuff. There's no pausing it or whatever. So that like, it's interesting that, like, I don't know if the modern Final Fantasy stuff kind of learned from Crisis Core or if it's just a coincidence, but it's almost like the combat is maybe closer. I'm trying to remember what Final Fantasy 16 was like, but I think it was very similar to that, where like you had a bunch of like, not necessarily the materia stuff and all of that, but how it was just active. You had your attack and your block and your dodge, and then you had like the face buttons did like spells and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's very similar to that. And I don't know. I've been enjoying it. I'm gonna keep playing it for a little bit. Like I said, I'm just kind of biding my time until Astrobot and Space Marine come out, which is another, I guess, week and a half or 2 weeks, I guess, technically, till Space Marine comes out. Um, so I've got a little bit of time, and I don't think that the campaign for this game is very long, so I might be able to finish it before then, and then we'll see where life takes me from there.
Nice. Dude, what's fucking weird? Sorry, what you're taking, I got kind of sidetracked. 'Cause I knew I had heard of the Ottawa Tavern before in Toledo. Like, it's like a legit venue. And we got on there, we're playing there. So I just looked up Ottawa Tavern on Google while you were talking. And it says events August 31st, one of by land. And then I click on it. And then it's like Ottawa Tavern with Pummeled, tickets, Toledo, Ohio. And it is $10 to get in. And we're playing with a band called Former Critics and another band called Clementine. And I wonder if this is going to be a fucking dope show. Like, I'm always skeptic about playing outside of the home area because you never know what the fuck you're getting on. You know what I mean? In my history, being in a touring band is just like you just fucking play to whoever shows up. But this Ottawa Tavern, I think, it's Toledo's nicer venue, I think, from what I can tell. It's got like a 4 out of 5 rating and stuff. So yeah, dude, this is gonna be a dope night. So cool. Sorry, I got a little side. That's my ADHD kick, self-diagnosed ADHD kicking in. But yeah, I heard every word you said though. So cool, man. I'm glad that you're playing some shit though. You know, I need to get back to. I think winter. The listeners know that in the wintertime we tend to play more games, so we get holed up in the house, and maybe Jake, maybe we'll record a record this winter. Who knows?
Yeah, well,
been talking about it for 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely will be more into playing games, especially as fall rolls around and the weather starts turning and can't do as much shit outside when things get all kind of wet and gross. And so, yeah, but trying to keep on keeping on.
Yeah. So Gamescom is the big freaking thing that happened here, and I have been just absolutely exhausted with work and shit going on in my life. I just kind of talked about all that stuff. But there were some things that were covered at Opening Night Live, Jake, and you said you were able to watch Opening Night Live. I didn't. I did see some of these trailers, and you know, I didn't see everything. So I'm going to make a point this evening after I'm done compiling all the show stuff and uploading it for our patrons and getting it queued up to release on Wednesday. I'm going to go upstairs, have myself a beverage, lie down, and watch the Gamescom Opening Night Live because I am kind of excited to see this. And it's the beauty of the age we live in. You can just pull it up on the internet whenever you want. But some of the notable things, I just clicked on this link I put in our Google Docs. It's really nice because there's a really good synopsis of Opening It Live on the Push Square website. We get a lot of our stories off of Push Square. We don't ever really break news. We just talk about things that are happening and give our opinions on them. So with that being said, we got a brief, no gameplay, no anything teaser for Borderlands 4. And it says it's coming to PlayStation 5 in 2025, so next year. I didn't play Borderlands 3, and I didn't play Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I did play Borderlands 1 and 2 and liked them both. But I did download Borderlands 3 because it was a PS Plus game. Couldn't fucking get into it. I tried. I hated the shooting. I just didn't feel good. I haven't played a shooter on console in a long time, but it didn't feel good. Jake,
which one?
Borderlands 3 is on PS Plus for...
Yeah, I didn't try that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I played 2 and I played a bit of 1, but I've never played 3.
Yeah. Any opinions about Borderlands 4? Are you excited about this? Do you think it's a smart move?
I don't know.
Do you care?
It's just a teaser thing. I mean, the graphics of the trailer look a little bit more, don't want to say realistic, but a little bit more edgy and a little bit less like cell shaded. So I'm kind of hoping that they take a little bit more of a darker approach with it. But we'll just have to see. Like, because if it's just a copy paste Borderlands game again, I don't know that I'm really gonna care all that much about it. But if they do something new with it and make it a little bit more, give it a little bit more pizzazz,
Yeah.
then I might be interested.
Yeah, very good. Well, there were some other things. I'm only going to touch on the things that stood out to me combing through the news story here. And Jake, if there's something you want to chime in on that I miss, you let me know. So, you guys know I'm a big fan of Little Nightmares. I played the first one and the second one. I don't remember if there was a third one. I think it was just 1 and 2. So, the creators of Little Nightmares are pretty much making Little Nightmares again. But they're calling it Reanimal, which is a fucking cool name, I think. I think it's a cool name. And the trailer is fucking awesome, and it has a lot of scale to it. That's the one thing I've noticed about this trailer is like, if anyone played Little Nightmares 2, you will notice or know that there is a scene that involves the ocean and being in a boat, and it also involves kind of like walking around with a NPC. Just the imagery that they do with these games is so intriguing and awesome. It just looks creepy. It's very Tim Burton-like, but way scarier than Tim Burton shit. And I'm just excited for this. This looks good. I don't think they announced a release date or anything. It says that the game's going to be solo or 2-player co-op, which is cool. And it's about a brother and sister. And it's just interesting looking. Jake, do you have any input on this?
I thought it looked really neat. I always love like Little Nightmares. I love the graphics and sort of like the imagery of it and the how like dark it is, but also sort of like Tim Burton-esque cartoony. And it has a really, really nice like kind of spooky vibe to it. And so when I saw this trailer, I was like, oh, it looks fucking awesome. I don't know, like I'm not always into these types of games. So I don't know if it's something that I'm gonna play or not. I've never played the Little Nightmares games. I just have never been able to get myself to pull the trigger on them. And so I'm not really sure about my likelihood to play this one, but it looks great. And I don't know if you saw, I don't know that if it's on your list or not, but they did announce Little Nightmares 3.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, and it's not being made by Tarsier. It's being made by Supermassive, who I know you're big fans of.
I am a big fan of them.
So that's kind of interesting that Supermassive is making Little Nightmares 4 or 3, but yeah, it seems like you'll have 2 of these types of games to sink your teeth into if that's something that you like.
That's dope, dude. Yeah, that'll be cool. I will admit, like, I don't love the game. I play it for the aesthetic. I just love getting lost in the world. Like, I don't really like the game itself. You know what I mean? I don't think it's bad. It's just not. It's like a side-scrolling platformer puzzle game, which is fine. But it's the art direction that just fucking kills me, like in such a good way. Like I'm just lost in it. I love it. It's worth every penny to me. So, another thing that we caught was more of the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game trailer, and this was a date reveal for the game. And for those who don't know, there was a lot of speculation that this was, there was a lot of conversation about whether or not this title was going to make it to PS5. Our last episode, we said there were rumors that it was coming to PlayStation, but nothing had been quite shored up, so to speak. So, Gamescom opening night live, we get a trailer for Indiana Jones: Great Circle. Troy Baker is saying that he is the dude. He is Indiana Jones, and it's coming to PlayStation 5. So that was kind of a big deal. I don't know. I think 2024. Is that right? I didn't see a date. Maybe there is a date on there. I thought it was next year though. 2025.
I think it's just like first half of 2025 or something like that.
I just said 2024. I meant 2025. Yeah.
It's pretty wild. I mean, this game is coming out in December for Xbox, so the exclusivity windows seems like it's pretty gonna be pretty short. So there's really literally, if you own a PlayStation, there's no reason for you to have an Xbox for this. Like I was gonna maybe play it on Game Pass, but now I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just wait and play it on PlayStation. I'd rather buy it and play it on PlayStation
Yeah.
than play it on my Xbox.
The only
So
yeah, dude.
I don't know.
How do you feel about the first person?
I I think that it'll be good. I was skeptical at first because I think the reason why I was skeptical at first is because I fully expected it to be third person when I saw the first trailer. And so when it wasn't, I was like, "Oh, this is jarring. I don't expect it to be like this. I expect it to be like Uncharted." And like I think when you are climbing and stuff, it is in third person. But when you're like just walking around and fighting, excuse me, bad guys and stuff, it's in first person. And I think combat and shit like that is totally fine in first person. So I don't know. I mean, I trust machine games to make something fun here.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think that it's gonna be okay that it's in first person. To be honest.
I'm skeptical. I saw the uppercut that you throw in the game trailer, and it just looks fucking weird. It just looks weird. I hate hand-to-hand combat in first person. I hate it with swords. I hate it with hands. I hate it with maces. I hate it with... And we know Indy doesn't really love guns, so... He does have a 6-shooter from what I understand, but we'll see how it goes. I hope they advertise it as being like a circle around the world, so you're going to see a lot of different places. Excited that we're going to get a copy. Will I play it? I'm sure I will. Another thing that we saw at opening night live is a weird trailer. This is a game franchise that doesn't go away, that I'm more than okay with existing. They've reiterated upon itself multiple times. We don't get much here. This is a mafia game called The Old Country. And it looks like, it's a 1900s Sicily, old school mob shit, like going back to Italy. So how that lands with people, I have no idea. I don't think that there's a thirst for this kind of game. We'll see what happens. I like that it still exists. The Mafia that was set just after the Vietnam War was interesting, whatever Mafia game that was. It was very rinse and repeat. I played it. It was fine. It didn't do a ton for me. The gameplay was fine. I don't know. I don't remember what that game was called. But Jake, any interest in the Mafia franchise?
I'm kind of curious how this will work out, because I don't think that, I'm not sure that, what do I want to say? I think the mafia as we know it, in the sense of, like, the Al Capone style mob, is, like, very American. And it just so happens to be with like Italian Americans are what started it, but I think it's like a very American thing. I could be wrong about this. So the idea of like them being in Italy doing this, like I wonder, it makes me wonder if there was actually like a mafia in the same regard in Italy, because the mob all started basically because of prohibition and all this shit, like in the sense that we know it, as far as like the the stereotypical mobster. But I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how they, like, I am totally down for a game like this taking place in Italy, because they could, obviously the environments would be gorgeous, and we don't get a lot of games in Italy other than maybe like Assassin's Creed or whatever. So, and I don't even know if I can't remember if Assassin's Creed took place in Italy or not. I thought it did, or the first couple. But yeah, so I think that part of it's pretty neat, and I'm interested to see It just says it takes place in the 1900s. I think I don't know if they get like a more specific than that, but I assume maybe like early to mid 1900s. I have a hard time believing that it's like a modern take on the mafia, but who knows? Maybe it is.
I just looked it up, and they say here the Sicilian mafia. It says the term applies to the traditional criminal organization in Sicily and also to a criminal organization in the United States. Most scholars agree that the mafia emerged in Sicily in the 19th century during Italy's unification, but others suggested the organization arose during the late Middle Ages. That's interesting.
That would be kind of interesting if like it started there and then came over here and they're just like, well, what can we crime up now? And it's like, oh well, it's crime up booze, and it's like, okay, well then it is what it is. Well, that's cool. That's cool then. I mean, assuming what you said is true, then
Yeah.
you learn something new every day.
That's cool. I'm stoked on it. That sounds cool. It makes me more interested if it's like historically kind of accurate.
Yeah.
There were some other things too, Jake, and I didn't really get into a lot of detail. I don't know what Unknown 9 is. Do we know what this is? This is like live action or something? Some sort of weird...
No, I mean there's just a live action trailer, but it's like a third person kind of actiony game. You play as Yennefer from the TV series The Witcher, and you have some kind of like body separating power thing. I don't know. I was like kind of scrubbing through the trailer, and it seems, I don't know, interesting, I guess. Watching it without it looks like it's a lot of like melee combat and stuff, but there's like planes and shit, so it almost looks like it's sort of like World War One-esque, but maybe it's like an alternate history kind of thing, because there's also this like all this weird like sci-fi occult shit going on. So I like it seems like it could be an interesting sort of clash of worlds, like maybe even a steampunky kind of thing, maybe slightly. So I don't know, it could be really fun, to be honest with you. It looks like it could be neat, but and maybe if I watched the trailer with actual sound on, it would be a little bit more interesting, but I have not. I've just been scrubbing through it whilst it is silent for the podcast. So, yeah, I have nothing really else to say about it, because I actually just picked it up because I didn't know about this game until I saw it on this list. So I went and looked it up because it wasn't in the stuff that I watched.
Very good. The next, I'm gonna scooch down a little bit on the list, and you can bring up something in between if you need to. But Don't Nod, who did the that game that neither you nor I played, that came out somewhat, Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden.
Yeah.
They have another game coming out, and it's a gameplay trailer, and this is following in the same kind of footsteps as their old Life is Strange games. And this one is called Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. So I'm guessing, well, I don't know, but it's about a bunch of kids that start a band called Bloom and Rage. Bloom and Rage, like In Bloom and Rage Against the Machine. I see what they're doing there. Not very creative. But apparently the game's going to have like, exploration a little bit and then dialogue choices. We don't really know what all it's going to entail, but the game's being released in 2 parts. And a lot of these, their last game was a full game, and then prior to that, I believe they released a Life is Strange game that released all the parts at once. So now they're splitting it back up. Maybe they're trying to find the sweet spot again, how to do this. The first part of Bloom and Rage will come out on February 18th, 2025, and then the second half is going to launch 1 month later on March 18th, 2025. So February and March, we're going to get another installment of the Life is Strange style games, but it's going to be called Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Anything on this? Did you like these games? You said sometimes, I remember you talking about the one Life is Strange where you were just like, it just got too heavy for you.
I couldn't get through the second season, the Life is Strange 2. I really enjoyed the original Life is Strange. Kind of like Telltale. Like I really enjoyed the first season of The Walking Dead, but it kind of all fell off for me after that. And so this game does have Life is Strange season 1 vibes to it. I don't know if you want to call it season 1, but Life is Strange 1. And like it seems like it's pretty dark. Some shit happens, I guess. I don't know, but you don't really know about it. And they're kind of teasing some things. But how did you say how many releases are there for this?
2.
Okay, I can jive with that.
An A side and a B side.
It's when you do the whole it's when you do the whole Telltale thing where it's like 5 fucking episodes and it takes literally a year to play the whole thing. It's like, okay, well, give me like, let's say this is like a 20-hour game. I don't know. Let's just say because it's for the sake of math. And you get 10 hours now, and then you get 10 hours like 6 months from now. I think that's kind of okay.
It's a month from now. They're releasing a month apart.
Oh, that's even better because the thing is that the reason why I don't like this strategy is because I always fucking forget what happened in the first part of it before I go to do the second part of it. And those like previously on segments that they do, like they don't put you in the headspace you were in at the end of the last season or the last episode or the last whatever. So I just generally don't think that it's a good approach from an experiential perspective. Now, maybe there's something to be said about the money making and the marketing side of it. But as far as I'm concerned, whether or not I play this game, if I do, it's not going to be until after both portions of it are out. And because I'm not like hot and bothered by it enough that I would
what if the first person
want to play it right at launch?
Well, let's say it comes out during the dry spell, and the first part is like $14.99, and you just kind of want to whet your appetite with something. You're saying you wouldn't pick it up?
If I didn't have anything else, to play, then maybe. But
what if it's crushing it? Reviews are just like, this is awesome.
Then I'll wait until like a week before the second one comes out, and I'll buy it then. I'm not one of these people that's like, I used to have a lot more impulse control when it came to purchasing things that are getting really well reviewed and stuff like that. And anymore, it's just like I play games at my own pace because I just don't have as much time as I used to. So I'm not really, other than talking with you, I'm not really a part of the online conversation, as it were, with a lot of these new releases. So, I mean, short of it being something really special to me, I'm not really going to be driven to try and pick it up. So it makes sense for me to just wait till it's all out. To be honest with you, like this style of game, coupled with this sort of the temperament of this game being like a sort of a feel-good kind of high school story with a dark kind of arc to it. The whole first season of Life is Strange, like this kind of thing. I do occasionally enjoy playing these types of stories and these types of games.
Yeah.
So I could see myself playing this. We'll just have to see. I don't know. I need to know more.
All right.
I'm more likely to, let's just say this. I'm more likely to play the new Life is Strange game because it's about the character from the season of Life is Strange that I liked than I am to play this new game.
Yeah. That's fair. Well, I'm going to suck one of our news stories out right now and talk about a game that was shown at Opening Night Live. And I'm all over this. This is a Dark Pictures Anthology Directive 8020. So this is my company, Supermassive, making this game. It's like a space.
So is it actually part of the Dark Pictures Anthology? Because I thought it was like a new season or it's separate or something, because I didn't actually even know. I watched it, the trailer, and I didn't even know it was part of the Dark Pictures Anthology. And I had no idea. I had no idea that even Supermassive was doing it. Now maybe I just missed it because I was sort of watching it while I was on my lunch break. But
Well, The Devil in Me, which was a Dark Pictures anthology game, at the end, we got this game was teased. So,
oh really?
Yeah, so I think it is part of the Dark Pictures anthology. Now, it doesn't straight up say Dark Pictures anthology, Devil in Me. And that might have more to do with, unfortunately, the passing of Tony Pankhurst, who was the curator. But I'm curious to see if he makes an appearance in this game. That'd be fucking awesome.
Just AI his voice. Fuck it.
Hey, they have his face and everything. They could easily do it. It'd be cool if he just shows up and he's like, "I bet you didn't expect to see me today," or something like that. That'd be so fucking rad.
Turns out they faked his death so that they could hit this kind of splash. No, I just looked at the trailer again. It doesn't say anything. So at the end, the splash screen does say Directive 8020, and then there's a subprint that says a Dark Pictures game. And then there's a Supermassive logo. But I didn't even notice this whenever I saw it the first time. Because usually, like at the end of these game trailers, there'll be like a still like splash screen where it's like the name and like wish list now and like all this shit. I always like immediately zone out when those things come up. Like I don't read any of it. So I didn't even notice this, but it does say it's a Dark Pictures game. And it says that it's coming next year. So I don't know. I mean, we don't know anything about it because it was just like a little like a cinematic thing, but it's in space, which is fucking rad.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi game, and that's awesome. And it looks like there's gonna be doppelgangers and shit involved. And they're saying that like these Dark Picture games are coming out every fucking year or something. They took more time on this one. You're going to follow your character in a conventional over-the-shoulder way that all these current action-adventure games are. They've dialed in a little more of the gameplay mechanics, so it's not so much all quick-time events and stuff. They did sample the game, from what I understand, in front of some people. And they didn't let anyone go hands-on with it, but the developers went hands-on with it, and people were saying that this actually looks like a really nice step up from the quality everybody was getting with the Dark Pictures anthology, which I still am fine with that. So this is on my fucking list, man, and it's coming out in 2025, and I think people are excited about this. And it's amazing how realistic the facial animations are. And it looks really, really cool. The other thing I want to bring up is Supermassive also was in conjunction with Dead Before Daylight, I think, and they're doing the casting of
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, they're doing the casting of Frank Stone, and that comes out in a few days, September 3rd.
Dude, these motherfuckers are turning into Telltale. They've got a lot of irons in the fire. Hopefully, it doesn't result in them turning out some dog shit.
Yeah, well, casting of Frank Stone is now on my list of games I want to play because it looks fucking dope. I know nothing about Dead by Daylight, but I love Supermassive unashamedly. Yeah. So I'm excited to see this. Let me see here. What else do I have on my list of lists? I don't know. Let me see here. We got more Space Marines 2. There's a hype trailer. Dude, people that are seeing this game are just like, this game's going to be fucking, it's going to blow your fucking hair back. It's going to blow the doors off the walls. People are excited about this game. Space Marines 2. The Arc Raiders thing, I didn't see much about this, but I remember the trailer we got on Arc Raiders, and it looked really cool. But this is an extraction shooter, and it's going to be good because if it's coming from the same developer who made the finals, which I really love that fucking gameplay loop. I did fall out of it. Embark is that developer, but I'm kind of excited about this. Now, I didn't watch this trailer, Jake. Did you watch the trailer? Does it look good?
Which game?
Arc Raiders.
I didn't watch the one at this, but we got that little gameplay trailer during the, I don't know if it was the State of Play or if it was at Jeff Keighley's thing in December or whatever. But I remember it just looking like, what, I don't know. It's just one of these like, it's like one of these online things. I don't know. I love the idea of like the 70s sci-fi kind of aesthetic of it. That was the thing that really stuck out to me was like the rainbow pastel colors and like all this shit. But yeah, I don't know that it really tickles my fancy otherwise.
Yeah. I think the thing about it that's interesting is I think that you're in an underground colony and then you go above surface to scavenge and fight for resources. And the machines are arc machines. And you're going up there to try to scavenge along with other players for their colonies. So I don't know how I feel about it.
That's like Dune. I mean, they talked about that Dune game, and it's like the same shit. It's like I would rather that this just be a fucking game I can play. Like I don't want to be doing all this stuff, like fighting against other people or whatever. But it's an MMO. I mean, that's kind of what they designed it to be.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't really have a whole lot of room to complain.
Yeah. The Little Nightmares 3 thing, I'm looking at that trailer now, and it does. It doesn't look as scary as Reanimal.
Yeah.
What sci-fi shooter sequel? Revenge of the Savage Planet. Never heard of that. What is King of Meat? It's a co-op game where you build the dungeons. It says it looks kind of lame. Yeah, it looks too slapsticky. Not into that. I'm looking at some of these. I didn't watch it all, obviously. And then there was like a Dave the Diver thing. So that's pretty much the opening night live Gamescom stuff. There's been stuff all week about things that they're talking about. Jake, is there anything else about Gamescom that you want to touch on that really caught your attention or that got you excited or whatever?
So I will say that I don't actually care about Goat Simulator. I've never played it, but I really enjoyed the trailer from opening night live. It was a really interesting and unique kind of fun trailer. So if you do watch it, hopefully you get a kick out of it. Obviously, like I'm interested in Indiana Jones, but we already talked about that. Shout out to both Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I never did finish the first one, but I've always thought about re-downloading it and getting back into it. It just didn't like. I didn't like how it played on PS4, but I'm hoping on PS5, like if it runs a lot better, I'll be a lot better at like the combat and stuff. And also, the expansion for Diablo 4 looks pretty rad. I could see myself maybe jumping back into that. And then the last thing that I'll kind of make a couple last things here. This Dying Light spinoff game, the Dying Light the Beast or whatever, stars the main character from the first game. And it's kind of interesting that they're doing like a 20-ish hour spin-off standalone game in the Dying Light universe that isn't like this massive open world thing. So that might be kind of interesting if it comes out and it's in good shape and it's not a technical mess like Dying Light 2 was. Because I really enjoyed the first Dying Light, even though it's been a long time since I've played it. Let's see here. Oh, there's a note here about Concord to feature an Amazon Prime secret level. We're just kind of reading a list off of Push Square. Dude, I just for fun, while earlier in the podcast we were talking, went on SteamDB because I was curious about Concord.
Yeah.
And right now, there's only 229 active players on SteamDB for Concord.
Well, that sucks.
This game is fucking crashing and burning. Now, I don't know what that this doesn't tell you what they're playing on PlayStation or whatever. I'm sure that those numbers are a little bit higher. But dude, and then there was there's like a tweet by one of the guys that worked on the game that said that this game's been in development for like 8 years. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing over there? What are you doing? Like they literally just, this thing is gonna just come out like a wet fart, man. I'm telling you what. It sucks. I was really looking forward to something to interest me in this space. And I thought, oh, well, maybe we'll get this. Like the original teaser had a feel of like a 70s kind of sci-fi sort of quirky aesthetic thing. And then we saw the trailers and it's just like this Marvel trash. And it's like, like the game looks good and I'm sure it plays good, but it just looks like I say when I say looks good, I mean graphically it looks impressive, and I'm sure it plays well, but it's just like the characters and the aesthetic and everything just seems so boring. On top of the fact that it's a multiplayer game, I could have almost been pulled into a multiplayer game with this like strategy of them trickling out these like story vignettes and these cinematics and like to help you care about these characters and stuff, but like everything that I've seen is just like, I don't care about any of this shit. I don't care about any of these characters. I don't care about any of this dialogue. It sounds so like just cheesy, and I don't know. It's like the B team at fucking Marvel wrote it, and I don't know. It's really unfortunate, and so I hate to dunk on it because clearly they're likely going to have to can this game early, unless they really pull something out of the fire like a phoenix or something. I don't. Who knows? Maybe there's 1 million players playing it on PlayStation. There are only 200 playing on Steam, but I highly doubt it. The only other thing to note that I had on here was the Monster Hunter Wilds trailer looked great. I'm not gonna play it because I just am not a big fan of this gameplay loop. But and obviously I'm not a multiplayer guy, it's a big part of Monster Hunter Wilds or Monster Hunter in general. But the trailer looked awesome with like these big monsters and they're fighting them, and like there's like story components to it, and the world looks really cool. So yeah, I mean that's really all I have to say about the rest of this stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that oh, dude, the Call of Duty campaign for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 looks fucking rad.
Does it?
Yeah. It looks really cool. So, I don't know, man. I might hang on to Game Pass for a month just so I can play this game and then just like cancel it because it does look really good.
That's funny.
But yeah. I don't want to pay $70 for probably a 5-hour campaign. But
yeah, I didn't watch it. I don't know. Back to the whole Concord thing. To take almost 10 years to make a game and then cancel it or like slow it down 2 months after it comes out is just a fucking travesty. I mean,
I'm not saying that they will. I'm just saying that like they might have been like thinking they're going to hit this Helldivers kind of cadence with it where it like blows up and people really like it or whatever, but it's like, bro, man, you're not.
Here's
the
problem. Here's the problem. I'll just say this real quick. One cannot make a good game and be successful anymore. The game has to be fucking unbelievable to be successful. There's so much static and so much noise out there that you can't just make like a mid-level, and by mid-level I mean like a game that works, that doesn't crash, that has okay art, that like is fun to play for a little bit. You're not gonna be successful doing that nowadays. Like you gotta fucking make a game that people are going to talk about, because every day there's a bazillion games coming out. And it's like, yeah, your game might be fine, but no one's going to fucking give a shit. Like you have to have something. So this cookie cutter stuff is weird because you see it in the music industry all the time too. It's just like the bands, like, yeah, these guys can play, but like there's nothing here for me. Like they're fine.
Dude, just to give you a perspective, so Concord had a 24-hour peak on Steam of 309 players. So in the last 24 hours, that's the most concurrent players they had. Counter-Strike 1.6 came out literally 24 years ago. and their 24-hour concurrent peak is almost 14,000 players. Now, to be fair, Counter-Strike has a deep history. It's very like embedded in esports and all this stuff. So like it's already popular. But like, and I know Concord, but like Concord doesn't even have that. Dude, I don't know if you've noticed, but Sony has been marketing the shit out of this game. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And still people aren't playing it. Like they should have made it free. I know they couldn't roll it back after they came out and were like, "Oh, it's $40 or whatever." You would basically be admitting defeat at that point. But like, man, if this was free, it would have done a little bit better. But whew, that's bad, man. I'm really nervous for that team. I hope they get like if this does crash and burn, and it looks like it's going to, I really hope they get a chance to make another thing, and make like a single player game or like a more traditional multiplayer style game or something. I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel bad for them.
Dude, that aside, talking about success in video games, and listener LJ sent me this story clip of this dude who was a developer, and he must have like a fucking show or something where he has a channel. But he worked 2 years, he says, on StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. And he says overtime on here, too. It says 2 years of overtime on StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. And the first Sparkle horse in World of Warcraft was a $15 microtransaction. That horse, on its own, brought in more money than that entire fucking StarCraft game. And he was like, and he's like, This is the meme. This is the end of the meme. This is it. That was it. I've got nothing else. He goes, you guys wonder why microtransactions exist in your games? Because people keep fucking buying them. So if you can make that much money on a fucking Sparkle horse in World of Warcraft, then what all of StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty could bring in from an entire game release, that's what these companies are trying to do. They're trying to bank on getting a game. So I'd like to see those numbers compared to like a fucking microtransaction in Grand Theft Auto, dude.
Yeah, man. Dude. So just quick digression. I fucking love StarCraft. And Wings of Liberty is really good. There were some complaints that people had about what they did with some of the characters or some of the units in the game, but it is still really good. The campaign mode is actually really fun and really interesting and unique for an RTS. Mm-hmm. So I do, but I'm feeling that guy. Like the amount of money that Fortnite makes on skins is astronomical. Like the amount of money that they make on skins you could crash 100 super yachts into the fucking Mediterranean Ocean a year, probably, for what Fortnite makes on skins. So
just do that mental math.
I don't know if we talked about it on this show about that fucking super yacht that fucking crashed in the Mediterranean and all those people died. Mm-mm. Yeah, it was like some tech magnate was on it and they found his, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's actually a pretty sad story, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe they're thinking that they're going to make if microtransactions are the way, then they should have just made this game free. Then they could have at least dragged in a bunch more players to try it. And then they might get hooked on the gameplay and bought stuff.
Yeah, but Concord cost what, $40 or $50 or something?
Right. It's like, I'm not going to pay $40 for a game that everyone is shitting on. And then on top of that, you want me to pay for a skin that's just like a color swap? Like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things about this game.
They need to think about these games. They already think about these games in the same way that like a drug dealer thinks about their clients. It's like, let's give them a taste of something for free, and then they'll come back for more, right? They need to take these games a little further with the microtransactions. So what they need to do, when you download the game, you get all content that releases in that month or the next month for the game, the microtransaction shit. You get it free, depending on whenever the fuck you download it. You get like a month free. and then they fucking cut you off, and then you got to pay for it. Like, they would get so many more downloads because they'd be like, that's how they got me on the PS Extra or whatever stuff. Like, oh, PlayStation Plus. Okay, well, you can upgrade for $20. And then you're like, all right, cool. It's the end of your fucking subscription. It's only $20 to upgrade to the next level. And it's like, oh, we're going to renew it if you don't do it. And I'm just like, fuck it. Just keep it. Just take my money. Maybe I'll play these games. That's how you fucking get people. And it's like, free-to-play game, give them a month of free microtransactions when they download it, and then cut them off, and then make them pay for the rest. I think you'll get way more stickiness there.
Yeah, I mean, you very well might, but I gotta say, it's not looking good.
All right, let's move on to the news. Every episode we talk about some news, game news. This episode's no different. We already talked about Gamescom. That was part of the news, but now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. And we're not going to take too much more of your time. First news point. Jake, there's some rumors that we're going to be getting a state of play in September. And during that state of play, there's also some rumors that we're finally going to get our long-awaited PS Pro announcement. What is your take on this?
I have to imagine that's probably happening. I don't know when it's going to happen. It might not even be a state of play. It might be at Tokyo Game Show. But I would have to imagine that maybe they'll announce the console at Tokyo Game Show, but then they'll do like the state of play with all the games and all the shit that's going with it separately to appeal to a more Western audience. But yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, me too. I think so too. So I'm just jonesing for a state of play, dude. It's been so long. The next one, there was a story, Jake, that broke, and I was absolutely unfazed and didn't give a shit about the story. But someone probably does. Crash 5 was being started. It was getting started. They were making it. Activision decided to pull the funding because they wanted to pursue live service games instead, put the money somewhere else. And a lot of that decision had to do with the middling sales of Crash 4. I'm not a big Crash fan. I know some people are. It's not really my kind of game. Jake, do you care that they started this game and decided not to do it?
Well, first of all, I just looked it up because I was confused by your statement there. Crash 4 sold 5 million copies.
Well, they weren't happy.
Not like
they weren't happy.
So
with it.
It's not like, but this is Activision to be fair. So I think that middling sales is a little bit of an understatement, but it is Activision. They're used to selling fucking Call of Duty, so I get it. I think a lot of people were really bummed out by this. I'm not a big Crash Bandicoot fan. I never really play. I played a little bit of Crash 4 when we were dicking around with some of the games of the month for PS Plus. And it is cool. It's fun. Crash 4 was hard, I remember. But yeah, this doesn't really move the needle for me all that much, to be honest with you. Because I was never really into Crash all that much.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just want to put it out there so the listeners knew what was going on there. There was we talked briefly about the handheld market, Jake, and how Sony kind of has their eye back on it. They've come out and they've said, you know what, guys, the success of the PS Portal kind of took us off guard. So we are paying very close attention to the handheld market. I don't know what this spells out for Sony. The VR2 didn't. They release amazing hardware, but never fucking support it. So if we get another handheld from Sony, it's until they learn their fucking lesson, which the PSVR 2 has shown us that they haven't. It doesn't even matter if they put out a handheld, because unless the handheld can run every fucking game on the fucking PSN. And it won't be able to. You might get some streaming services or some streaming out of it like the PS Portal does, but dude, they have to push this shit. They didn't even push the fucking Portal. They didn't even push that. The only reason that was successful was because the price point was right and because it was interesting. They
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seemed to be a hit with people. I think that the Switch really changed everything with the handheld landscape, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make another one. The biggest thing is that they gotta go into it with their eyes open and not do this shit like they did with the Vita, where it's like as soon as like the second the fucking Vita was cracked, they tried to kill it. And it's like you got to realize if you're coming into a handheld market, like people are gonna try and break your shit open,
Yeah.
and you can either facilitate that, or you can put the resources into preventing that from happening. But don't be like, oh, the first time it's fucking cracked, be like, oh, it's over, and then just give up on the device altogether. And maybe they won't do that now. Maybe they were just gun shy because of the PSN outage of whatever that was, 2011 or 2010. I don't remember. I think it was 2011. But yeah, I would love to see another Sony handheld. I think it would be good.
Yeah, if they do it, they just have to fucking support it. They can't just do what they did with the Portal and expect it to work. They didn't really support the Portal at all. I don't think I saw one advertisement for it. I don't think I saw it once at a Walmart. I don't think I saw it once anywhere.
Well, it's been sold out forever because I think they were only selling it on PlayStation Direct.
It's weird.
So they underestimated how well that was going to do, I think.
Yeah, which is why they're surprised. But I mean, like they didn't. If they would have made a ton of these things and put them everywhere, I just don't know that they would have sold well. It sold well in respect to their expectations, but if they go balls deep in making another handheld and it's going to cost them how much fucking money to do it, and then the price goes up by $200, they're going to be sitting on them, I think.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to see. I mean, we'll see what the new Switch costs.
Yeah.
If the new Switch is like $500, then Sony sort of has the ability to just sort of do what they want.
Yeah.
But if the new Switch is, as long as it's within reason, but if the new Switch is like $300, Sony's not going to be able to make a premium handheld for that price.
No way.
I just don't think so. Because people that play Nintendo don't give a shit that it looks like crap and it runs like crap and it's got Nintendo games on it. People won't say the same thing about Sony.
No, because the expectations are higher. And it's interesting, too, because if you really think about it, VR2, dude. It's a great fucking piece of hardware. They're not moving a lot of units. They moved a lot recently when they had that big price cut in this PC adapter, but they didn't push. They actually did push the PSVR 2 pretty hard, but it still didn't do well. So we'll see. It's apples and oranges. Next news point, and this is interesting, and it's kind of a bummer. Not a big deal though. Jake, we've talked a lot about the PlayStation Stars loyalty program, and you accumulate points, for purchasing gift cards, store credit, downloadable things, whatever on the PSN. They came out and they said, well, previously when you were subscribing to PS Plus or whatever, that transaction would earn you points on the PS loyalty program. They're now saying that they're not going to give you credit for those purchases, for your subscription purchases. And not only that, the points you accumulate will only last on your account for 13 months. So you can't accumulate a huge plethora of points and get all this credit. You gotta use them.
Guess I better spend mine because I got like 10,000 points in there.
Yeah, you better get your gift cards now.
Did you see that thing where it's like you have to like opt in to like the user agreement?
Yeah, that's what this is about. That's what this is. You have to agree to it.
I never got a thing to do it. Have they not sent it out yet?
No, it's coming in October. It's like the 2nd or October 4th or something, I think. And that's going to
Okay.
This is what you're agreeing to, or else you can't be a part of the loyalty program anymore. So, yeah, fucking double down, get your gift card, your store credit now before it's too late.
Yeah, I definitely need to do that.
Yeah. So, oh, crap, I wrote this on the wrong line here. I'm trying to keep track of our timestamps for our YouTube show. Jake, you said this was a game you're interested in. Black Myth Wukong. It's all the rage right now. Everyone is all about this game. And apparently in the first 3 days, it sold 10 million copies. What is that about?
I don't know, man. I mean, this game, like, it visually looks stunning, but it doesn't really look all that interesting to me. So it kind of blows me away that people are really into it, and that's great. It doesn't have an amazing Metacritic score. It's like on OpenCritic, it's like 81. So it's not like it's this Elden Ring level thing, but yeah, people seem to really dig it, and that's great. I mean, you want to play as a monkey with a stick beating up mythical Chinese characters? I mean, that's probably fine. And I think they like the game. Like I said, the game technically looks really great. I was gonna pick it up because it's supposed to be coming to Game Pass, but they delayed the Xbox version of the game, so I have not played this. But I think it's cool. I mean, I'm really, really happy for this. This is a Chinese studio, I think. So I'm really happy for them to come out and make a successful title like this that people really like, because I think a lot of these, like a bunch of these copies were maybe sold in China because of that. And that's but that's cool. I mean, Sony gets 30% of that. Steam gets 30% of that. So everybody's eating good.
I'll say.
So
that's cool.
Excited for them.
2 more news points. The next one is a big one, but we don't need to go into it very long. We haven't heard anything about this game for a while, and they've confirmed now that Tokyo Game Show will have a huge Death Stranding to reveal or something that's going on, and Hideo Kojima will be spearheading, hosting that Death Stranding 2 presentation. So I'm stoked. Jake, Death Stranding 2, you interested?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, after playing the first one, finally getting through the game, I really am excited for it. I like we've talked about on the podcast before, I really do hope that they streamline some of the gameplay elements of the delivery shit in the second one, and
this is right around the
little bit. What's that?
Tokyo Game Show. It starts September 26th.
Yeah, it's in a few weeks. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it. Just the story and the Kojima-ness of it. I don't know that I'm really all that excited to walk around as Sam Porter Bridges and build ladders and crap. Like, I don't care about that. Like, it's fine. But the story is what pulled me along in that game. All that shit with like Mads Mikkelsen's character and everything. Like, it was just awesome. So, I'm excited from that regard.
I'm all in. I'm excited. I hope it happens. I want to see it. I want to see more about it. And lastly, our action adventure lady, Lara Croft, is going to be shown on Netflix in a new animation starting in October. And it looks pretty cool, actually. It looks good.
I didn't watch this, but I think that Tomb Raider could be a cool animated series. Did you ever watch Edge Runners, Cyberpunk?
Yeah, it was great.
Dude, I don't know if I could watch it again. Like, it's really fucking heavy.
It's not that heavy.
But, like...
I mean, it is, but it's not, like... It's not believable because... Well, it is, but it's not because future.
But it's, like... I don't really like dramas as it is. So the fact that it did what it did and how violent and gory it was everything.
Loved it.
Like, it just proves that, and I think I didn't watch Castlevania, but I've heard good things about it. It proves that these animated shows, as long as they're kept in check, can be really great representations of these game IP without having to worry about the live action component mucking it up. Like, I think a lot of the reason why these movies and stuff suck is because they're live action, and it's really hard to it's really hard to apply certain gameplay things to live action shit, especially if they're going to get into like some of the more occult stuff. Not occult, but like, you know, weird shit in Lara Croft. It's a little bit easier to do when you're animating it. I don't know. We'll have to see. It also depends on the animation style too. I'm not really sure.
Oh, it looks good. Animation style looks like G.I. Joe Resolute style, so I'm all in on that.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it looks good. All right, so that's it for the show. We don't have new games to announce. Gamescom was the big thing. Thank you for tuning in. I will say that our boy Ryan, who signed up for the Patreon, hit a little bit of a snafu with you, bud. I got to figure this out, but you live down in Australia. I got to figure out how to ship your shit down there. So it'll happen, and maybe that's why he's a $2 patron, because they're using Aussie money or something. I don't know, some sort of weird conversion or something, but we do appreciate you for that. And we'll get you your sticker, don't you worry. I don't know what it's going to cost us, though, to ship
Maybe even 2 stickers, I don't know.
Oh, I put a couple things in there. Yeah, I think I might have even flipped him a Fred Oakman sticker or something. Just I like the idea of that shit being down there in Australia world. So
yeah,
you got your PlayStation sticker and then some, because you gave us $2 and because you're not from around these parts. So I hope you enjoy it. It has not been mailed yet, so by the time you're reading this, don't hate us. Don't hate the player, hate the game, man. We got to fix the postal service so I can send that shit cheaper, figure out how to do it. I can't just like drop it in a mailbox. I think I got to go through a custom sheet and stuff to send it. I'm pretty sure when you send stuff internationally, you got to fill out a thing saying you're not sending like any kind of viruses over there or something. For real. Yeah.
You have to make sure you remove the anthrax before you send it.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's not in there. Yeah, I have to put it in a new envelope, I guess. All right. But yeah, thanks, Ryan. And for anyone who didn't pick up on that, we have a Patreon. Make sure you guys go sign up. We don't ask much of our listeners. In fact, we don't even ask this of you, but we do feel it and we do appreciate it each and every time one of you guys signs up for that for $1 a month. And we'll get you a sticker, and you will usually get the show at least a day early. That's the very least that we can do for you. And if you want to write in on the Patreon, we will read your shit before other people's too. So thank you for that. And with that, Jake, I got nothing left. You got anything left?
Nope. Sarah's yelling at me because it's dinner time, so
all right, go
get
your food.
Get going.
So like Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2, Warhaven, and Watch Dogs. P.S. This is awesome.
This is awesome.